have forgotten if I didn't bring it. So anyway, good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here on this glorious day. And most importantly, thank you for taking the time to reunite, kind of not the right way to say, I'm going to say it, reunite with spirit. I mean, you're already connected all the time. You can't not be. However, there are those moments when we purposefully open our hearts and generate the beauty, the love, the wonder of spirit. And these are those moments. So thank you for taking this time in your day to sing, to be present, to organize this Sunday service so that we all have the opportunity to spend a few moments consciously and purposefully living our best and allowing spirit to move through us. So yes, the topic today, the whole month's about love, which is, I'm so glad I get to speak in February because I like that. But my topic is, what is the doorway to love? Well, it's a simple answer, actually, but I'm not going to tell you right away. You'll probably get it as we go along. But first, I wanted to look at what love was. So I started thinking about it. Actually, took a lot of, okay, come on, Spirit, tell me what's what here. What is it you want me to speak about? So in my journey of inquiring into it, I looked into this business of love, and I did not know, but now I do, that the Greeks had 8 different kinds of love. And it's interesting because I would not have considered it all love. So I'm just going to go through them briefly. That's why the notes. Eros is the one we're most used to, romantic love, and generally sexual attraction. So, you know, in our society, we're all looking for that boy. Everybody wants, that's what they mean when I just so want to fall in love. And when they fall in love, that's what they mean. You know, they're mad about somebody else and their heart's going, and they, you know, and largely it's sexual attraction. Then there's filial love, which is a love of friends. You've probably heard of that, where, you know, you love your friend the way that they are and the way they're not. And it's not however they are, you love them. And it's, sometimes it breaks down, but sometimes you can regain that. And then there's storge, which I think is an interesting word. That's familiar love of a family, like a parent for a child. And we're all familiar with that kind of love. And these are each distinct one from the other. You know, how you feel about a child is different than how you feel about a husband or a wife. And then there's mania, which I had never considered a kind of love, obsessive love, controlling and jealous. Now, I can get that jealous is born of love, but I'd never have had thought that being obsessed with somebody was a kind of love. However, if you engage with the Course in Miracles, everything is love or a cry for love. So obsessive love is a kind of love. At least the Greeks distinguished it that way. And then there's ludus, which is playful love. And that's often mixed with eros, because it's where you're tingly, you know, where you get butterflies in your stomach and you get goosebumps and that kind of thing. That's ludus love. And then there's pragma. Now that's enduring, mature love. It's very different from other love. And sometimes people don't cross that bridge. You know, they feel like they fell out of love because they don't have, I'm going to say, have the hots for the other person anymore. Well, my husband and I have that enduring, mature love. We'll be married 42 years in July. It's different from when we started. And I love it. I really like it. I like it a whole lot better, to tell you the truth. It's so comfortable, so easy, so safe. Just my best friend, we joke, we get angry and joke all at the same time. I mean, it's great. Then there's, if I'm saying this right, philotia, or self-love. We all know what that is. Excuse me. Whether we are good at it or not, it's another story. But we all know what self-love is. Or do we? And then there's agape, which I know you've all heard of. It's selfless love, where we, as Meredith was saying, we care for one another, and we give our love to one another without strings attached. We don't expect anything in return. And we just give of ourselves naturally, easily, without concern. And we move beyond ourselves into the care of another person or a large number of people. So those are the two kinds of love that I want to speak about today: self-love and agape. Now, interestingly, I generally don't remember ever asking musicians to play a certain song when I'm speaking, because I have found I don't ever need to, because it's always perfect. Whatever, I'm so sorry. Maybe. Whatever needs to be said by me or by the musicians all comes together. Oh, thanks, sweetie. It all comes together perfectly. So self-love is that caring for yourself as you are and as you are not. So I'm not particularly a creative person. Art, music. I like to sing. Can't always carry a tune. But I hate arts and crafts. Oh. Bad for me to be in a room when arts and crafts are going on. But that's the way I am. I mean, I don't judge it anymore. It's okay. That is not my thing. People think it's funny because I've been there and the look on my face is like, don't touch me, I'll kill you. I mean, I just can't stand arts and crafts. So, and my daughter's a whiz at that stuff. So it's accepting yourself just the way you are. Now, the problem we have is we have this little mind that chatters all the time. It's got stuff to say. It's amazing, the stuff it has to say about everything all the time. The world, whoever they are, the house, the store, the corporation, the client, the everything, ourselves. And then we pick ourselves apart and our body. Oh gosh. I mean, I have to talk to a friend once. She's trying to lose weight. She says, I just hate my body. Well, it makes it really hard to lose weight when you hate it. And it's been hard. So it is useful to remember that all of that, which I've been talking about, is us being human. That's what it's like to be human. All of that stuff, all that turmoil in our head, all that judgment, all that harshness, all that anger, all that upset, that's being human. It's not going to go away, probably ever. I mean, I'm 76. It hasn't yet. I still deal with the very same thing, and don't get in the car with me because you'll get to hear it. But that's not who you are. That's you as a human being. You have a body. You could say that's your little Scotty dog on this game called life. This is a large Monopoly board here. And your body is your piece, allows you to play this game or have this adventure called life. And it comes with all this stuff. It comes with the body that's either tall or short or fat or thin or however it is. And it comes with the machinations in your head. And everybody's is the same, only different. I mean, it's largely, unless you do some real work on it, it's largely negative. And when it's doing that, so the chatter in your head is the language of the mind. Emotions are the language of the body. So you have a thought, I can't stand Susan. Then there's usually an emotion that comes with it. So a welling up in your body of some kind of emotion. And we often then act out of that. That's it, slam the door. Well, nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying we shouldn't. All I'm saying is It's useful to know that that's what we do as human beings. Be aware of that. And when you can get that that's just something you did, what's the doorway to loving yourself? Forgiveness. It's so simple. Forgive yourself for having done that. Forgive yourself for slamming the door in her face. Forgive yourself for the thought, for the emotion, for the whole thing. Forgive yourself. You are human. And you, the people that I'm speaking to on Zoom that hear this message and that are here, are the people who are working towards expressing that self-love. And just, God, I can't believe it, the song that you sang, I loving you so much. When I love me so much, you get to love you so much. And you love you so much, then everybody's loving one another. That's how it works. That is the power of self-love. It's not being selfish with the little s, like only me. No. You, each of us, is the divine expression of spirit. Unique. Just as a human, we're each unique. And then we express spirit into life in our own unique ways. And do we make mistakes as human beings? Oh, you betcha. We make plenty of them. And some of them are kind of haunting. I know in my case, if I say something to somebody that just wasn't okay with me, that until I get it cleared up with that person, it bugs me. I mean, it's like going around in my head for however long. So I can't tolerate that. So it helps me get to that other person and heal things quickly. And that's true for a lot of people. Some people, though, don't know this. They aren't aware of this. So they harbor that thought and add to it. And then they build up a case about somebody else, but they're not aware. You and I are aware. When we have a judgment or we don't like something that somebody did, we're aware that we don't like it. We don't have to act out of it. We don't have to be nasty because somebody did something we didn't like. We can forgive them. If you were they, you probably do the same thing. If you had the bad morning that person had, that clerk had, you'd probably snap back at me too. So when you're aware, you can allow that. Forgive them, forgive yourself. But when you're forgiving yourself, you create a different world from which to view life. You see, we don't see life as it is. We see life as we are. By that, I mean, if I'm angry, what I see out there is all you angry people. And all you did this and you did that. But that's my perspective. Here's the thing. You can only have your perspective. That's what you've got. That's what your place in this game called life gave you, is your perspective. And you can only see life from your perspective. But the perspective you have is actually malleable. And forgiveness softens you and softens those circumstances and your approach to those people. And it gives you a different place to live your life from. It gives you a softer, easier, more peaceful, more joyous, like a soft joy of a place to live from. And I have found it to be, and I'm not telling you this from books, I'm telling you this from my own experience. I have found it makes life so much easier. When somebody does something I cannot stand, it's all okay. It's okay. They're doing the best they can. If I were them, I'd probably do the same thing. It's all okay. It's all okay. It's all okay. So when you love yourself, people are not doing anything to you. You know that. They're doing them. They're not responding to you at all. They're seeing life from their perspective. And you said, boo, and they said, how dare you? I'm like, what? For you, it's insane. For them, it's real. But I'm speaking to you because you're here and you're on Zoom and you're aware. You're awake and aware. I know you are. You wouldn't bother being here. You have to be. So use that awareness and allow yourself, especially when it feels like somebody's doing something to you, use your awareness to love yourself. They're not doing it to you. I had an event where I was with my granddaughter and she went off and was with somebody else and just left me sitting there. And I noticed myself go, well, She could at least bring that person over and introduce them to me. Or why didn't she invite me to meet her? All that. And I noticed that it ran through my head as thoughts, and the emotion was not with it. Now, this is after many years of work. And I thought, isn't this cool? I could really be upset here and make a big thing out of it, but I'm not. And by the way, Rita, if you want to meet her, you get your butt up and go meet her. I didn't care, so I didn't go. So, I mean, it's so funny. I can be upset with her, but I didn't care if I met her anyway. That is how it goes. It goes that way so often. So, that leads me to be responsible for me. When I love myself, I'm responsible for me. And it's not somebody else that I have to blame. It's so funny. And I sat through this whole thing and noticed the whole thing happening. And I was just totally fine and happy. And my granddaughter came back and we did what we did and we had a great time. Blah, blah, blah. And it was gone. I mean, it just wasn't there. And what's interesting, this same granddaughter, she's 33 now. When she was about 6, she was running away because she wanted to find a family that loved her. Now, I have to tell you, she's got that persisting in her life. So about 2 years ago or so, she was telling me, she's a teacher, and that she tries to make friends with people and they just don't make friends. They just say they'll get together and then they don't. And she's all upset about it. It's feeling like nobody loved her. So as will happen, the universe sends you circumstances to allow you to get aware, right? So she had issues with her husband and the kids and and her mother. And so she's in therapy. Well, by golly, it's great therapy, I must say, because we were talking that very same day, and she was telling me about an issue that was going on with her and her husband, and she saw that what he was doing was what he was doing, and the reaction was hers. Now, that's really good therapy. And she is owning her own life now. And her birthday was this month, one of 5 in this month in my family. And 18 people surprised her and wanted to take her out for her birthday. This has not happened in her life before. It is exactly the kind of thing that happens when you love yourself, when you own yourself, when you're okay the way you are and the way you aren't. You're not that way. Somebody else is that way, not you. Would I love to have been like Whitney Houston or something? You betcha. But that ain't me. So loving yourself is key to a richness in life as a human being, which then moves you and allows you to open the door to agape, which is the expression of who you are. You are not your body. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You're not your career. You're not your car. You're not your family. You're not your circumstances. You are spirit. You just look the way you look, and I look the way I look. You are spirit expressed divinely into life. That's agape. And when you're living from there, that's when selfless love is pretty clear. All there is to do is take that hammer and that bell and that song and go give love everywhere. That's all there is to do. In the little things you do and in the big things that you do, that's all there is to do. Express that love everywhere. Now, how you get to do that is through getting to know that still quiet voice of yours, that voice of spirit that speaks to you. Let him or her in. He or she is always speaking with love to you. You are never alone. You are as rich in spirit right now as you will ever be. Never more abundant in spirit than you are right now. So when you feel lost as a human being, get quiet. Listen to that voice. That's what I had to do to be able to even speak about this today. Because I knew it was about love, but I'm like, come on, spirit, tell me what there is to talk about. And, as always happens, somebody said this and I saw that and I saw this thing and that thing and the other thing. And, it all finally fell together yesterday. Hallelujah. But there's nothing more precious than to live from the inside out. Let spirit guide you. Let the love that you are, that spirit. So when we say spirit or God or divine energy or love, it's all the same thing. They're just different words for the energy that is breathing us, is beating our heart, is living us. You're not in control of that. You weren't in control of when you were born, and you ain't in control of when you die. I mean, unless you die with dignity and choose, this is my moment. Generally speaking, it's the way I like to say it is, you know, when your number's up, your number's up. I don't care what you're doing. When it's your time, baby, it's happening. So there's something else going on in charge of us that we tap into and can use to express this joy, this wonder into life, and that's spirit. And that is love, forever giving, always loving. And when we can forgive the human, we can move into agape. First step, forgiveness into self-love, and that unfolds into agape, into that selflessness, into being an expression of that. And I have found the more that I do that, the more rich life is, the easier it is, the more wonderful it is, the more joy there is, the more balance there is, the more creativity, the more inspiration. Whew. I mean, it gets to the point where I have to take lots of breaths because, you just can't contain it in the body. We cannot contain the wonder of life. We cannot. It's just enormous. Look how enormous it is that this business of spirit and life created an entire universe. And we're some tiny, weeny little butt ball spinning around in the atmosphere. One little planet of millions. And then we're one little person on a teeny, weeny little planet. Come on now. How important can our stuff be, right? Let us instead enjoy the wonder of ourselves. The beauty. Spirit did not create you and me by accident or with any flaws, really. We are blessed. We're just unique. How about all those idiosyncrasies and flaws that you think you've got? Maybe they're just uniquely you. They're to be blessed and allowed and given space. And if you really can't stand them, forgive yourself for having them. Just forgive yourself. Use forgiveness, spread it all over the place, because it opens the door to your love of self and the door to love of others at any moment. What more could we ask for? So you see, the music today was perfect. I couldn't have thought of it, but it's the exact right stuff. In fact, I thought when you were speaking, Mary, I thought, well, I don't need to say anything. Between what you said and the music, done. So bravo to you for being here today and for engaging in this wonder of love. Oh, nothing better, nothing more rewarding, nothing more sacred. Oh, we are blessed. So let us pray for a moment. Divine Spirit, thank you for the glory of this day. Thank you for the wonder of being with you and realizing that's who I am and who we are. And we have this whole world to share our love with. We might not go to the Ukraine. We might not go to Turkey or Syria or Africa where real troubles are happening. But we can send our love there. We can send our love there. And meanwhile, we can spread love in our environment, in our home, with the people we meet, with our friends. And we're happy to do this. We are blessed that we are aware that we can do this. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be awake and aware and conscious that we are an instrument of your love. We are a unique expression of you. We are grateful for this. Ever so grateful today, tomorrow, and always. Amen. Blessed be, and so it is.